Hello guys, welcome back to another episode in Android application development tutorial series. In this video, we are going to learn about what are the components we have to install in our computer to start Android application development using Java. So in this tutorial series, I'm going to use Android Studio for the application development. Android Studio is the official IDE for Android application development. And here we are going to use Java as programming language for the application development. Of course, now Kotlin is available as official programming language, but for this tutorial series we are going to use Java as programming language. So if you're using Android Studio, here is the minimum system requirements. Here is the requirements for Windows. You need at least 7, 8 or 10, Windows 10, 32 or 64 bit. You need at least 3 GB of RAM. 8 GB is recommended. And if you test your application on Android emulator, the emulator need at least 1 GB of RAM. So if you have 3 GB RAM, 1 GB is reserved for the Android emulator, then only 2 GB remaining. Among that 2 GB, your operating system use some memory. The Android Studio get only the remaining portion of that memory, and that is not enough for the smooth running of Android Studio. So the recommended size is 8 GB, and you need at least 2 GB of disk space available for Android Studio, Android SDK and the future updates. 4 GB is recommended. 500 MB is used by the Android Studio itself, and you need at least 1.5 GB of Android SDK. And here is the minimum screen resolution for start using Android Studio. Okay, so if you have at least 2 GB of graphics memory, then your Android emulator will run smoother. And here is the system requirements for using Mac, and here is the system requirements if you running on Linux. Okay, so here the first component we have to install is Android the first component we have to install is Java development kit, because here the programming language is Java. We write Java classes. To compile Java classes, we need the Java compiler, and to run the Java code, Java bytecode, we need the Java virtual machine. But for Android, there is a special virtual machine called the Dalvik virtual machine. So for compiling the Java code, we have to install Java compiler, or simply called the JDK. So now here I'm going to download and install Java development kit. So simply type download JDK. Go to the first link. So this is the official website of Oracle. From this website you can download the most suitable version of JDK for your platform. So here there is 2 versions are available, JDK 8U151 and 8U152. I think this is the demos and samples. Okay, I think 8U152 is the latest version. So the first thing, you need to accept the license agreement. So here a lot of versions are available for different platform. Here is for Linux, here it is for Mac, here for Solaris, and the final ones are for Windows. So here I use Windows 10 64-bit operating system. So I have to download the 64-bit version of JDK for Windows. The x86 represents the 32-bit. So I have to download the 64-bit version of JDK for Windows. So this is my version. So click that one. Now here the download started. It is around 206 MB of size. Okay, here the JDK download finishes. Go to the download folder. Now we can install JDK. Here is the installer for JDK. So here is the JDK installer. Click next. So here is the installation directory of JDK. Click next. So here the JDK installation completed successfully. Click close. Okay, now we need to download and install Android Studio. Open your browser. Search for Android Studio download. This is the official website for Android application developers. From this website, you can download all the needed tools for Android application development. So go to this website, and this is the download page for Android Studio. So on the date of creation of this video, the latest version of Android Studio is 3.0.1. So in this Android Studio, you have both support for Java and Kotlin. So now we can download Android Studio. So click this button. Here you need to accept these terms and conditions and download Android Studio for Windows. So now here the download started. It is around 683 MB of size. So here the Android Studio download completed. Open download folder. So here is the installer for Android Studio. So now we can install Android Studio. Click next. Okay, nothing changed here. Click next. This is the installation folder of Android Studio. In program files, there is a folder Android and another folder called Android Studio. Click next. This is the folder name in start menu. Click next. Now the Android Studio installation is finishes. Now click next. Now we can start Android Studio and click finish. So if you have previous version of Android Studio before, you can import the settings from the previous version of Android Studio. So here we do not have any previous version of Android Studio, so select this one and click OK. So now the Android Studio start download the Android SDK components. So it will take a little bit time because it need to download at least 1.5 GB. So now the download is started. Okay, now this is the welcome page of Android Studio. So now we can click next. So here you need to choose what type of setup you want for Android Studio. This is the standard. Android Studio will be installed with the most common settings and options recommended for most users. And here you can customize installation settings and components installed. So we can go for standard and click next. So here Android Studio have two themes. First one is the IntelliJ theme and second one is the Darkula theme. So if you need a dark background with the colorful text, you can select Darkula theme. So for training, the IntelliJ theme is better. So now we can select IntelliJ theme and click next. So this is the component now Android Studio is going to download. So here Android Studio need to download 970 MB of size. Here is the components that now Android Studio is going to download. Okay, so you need a better internet connection for download all these components in faster way. So click finish. Now Android Studio start downloading the needed components. Now here the Android SDK installation completed successfully. Click finish. Now this is the welcome page of Android Studio. Now we successfully install all the components for start Android application development in this computer. Now we can start with our first Android application.